I'll take two topping medium pizzas, 10-piece of your chicken wings, cheesy sticks, side of chicken Alfredo pasta, a second 10-piece of wings, and cinnamon sticks. And we're back. Hello and welcome to the Hypertrophy Odyssey, chapter 89. It is the last day of the week, aka the shotgun dropkick workout. Today, I am feeling alright, feeling good. I actually got sleep last night. Great. I was actually very happy about that. I'm looking forward to even more sleep tonight. So, good on the sleep train, so I won't be as drowsy as I've been every other day this week. But anyways, so today's subject matter came up because of something else that I was watching. I don't even remember how it came up. I just remember it coming up and then I was like, oh, that's a good video idea. So I will be talking more candidly as a former fat man, as somebody who used to be extra fat. When I was at my biggest, I was 282 to be exact, but 280 was my biggest I've ever been. I am currently, as of this morning, I am currently 193.3. I am almost down 100 pounds from when I was at my biggest, which is insane. I would like to get to 100 pounds down from when I was my biggest. That'd be nice. But I wanted to just talk a little bit about how does somebody get to that size and just let it happen, you know? So for me personally, after dieting and doing all the jazz that I've been doing for the past like 2+ years now, 3 more so, but 2+ years, I've learned a lot about my body, and I've learned a lot about what makes it tick and what makes it not tick. So for example, rice has been a recent thing that I've given up on because rice makes me retain water like crazy, and I love rice. That is one of my favorite foods of all time. I would say if you gave me a bowl of rice and eggs, I could probably eat that for maybe like a good 6 months before I'm like, all right, I kind of want something else. So it's up there in favorite foods. So I do love it, but I know now what it does to my body. Back then, Oscar did not know when. I was at my biggest at around, I think it was 2016, 2017, I want to say. Maybe a little bit before that? No, it was 2017, pretty sure. Yeah, 2017, at my biggest. The thoughts and ideas of calories were just a fable to me. I personally was under the belief that like eating salad would be good, you know, things like that. Calories, what the fuck are those? You know, like magnets, how the fuck do they work? That type of deal. Another one was that like, for some reason I was like, oh yeah, let me go eat out multiple times a day and then that will somehow be all right as long as one of the meals is okay. And this was a trend that kept popping up randomly. So for example, like breakfast, I'd get like McDonald's breakfast, and then for dinner I'd get like, or for lunch/dinner I'd probably get like Chinese food from a local joint or something like that, something along those lines. And then I'm wondering, why am I getting so fat, or why am I feel so terrible? Why do I feel so bad as I'm hulking down a king-size Twix bar 4-pack by myself, you know? The disconnect was truly real. It astonishes me that I was that fat and also didn't understand why. But it is kind of understandable with how popular culture kind of perpetuates certain things and certain stereotypes about things, like the salad thing and all that other jazz. People not realizing that it really is calories in versus calories out. Anybody who argues against that, you're really just arguing against thermodynamics and also science and also the basis of human law. You're arguing against something that is unarguable. So those who say it's not just that, no, it is just that. And my favorite example of that personally is the professor, what is it? It was like a Harvard professor or some professor somewhere did an experiment where he just ate Twinkies. That was it. He lost weight while eating Twinkies. And that was the entire point, to prove that it's calories in versus calories out. It doesn't matter. He probably felt like shit, obviously, because eating only Twinkies is the worst in theory, because you're getting little to zero micronutrients and also, you know, protein and all that other jazz that you might want from food. You're just getting fat and carbs. But regardless, it is interesting that people will try to still argue against it. I don't understand it. So I personally find it funny whenever anybody tries to argue against it. I find it laughable. I also understand why. That we've been conditioned to not feel certain ways. And I think everybody forgets, like, everybody always talks about like, oh yeah, but you can count calories, you have the tools to do it, you can do this, you can do that. Yeah, everybody forgets the simplest tool for all of weight loss, and this is something that I personally still use to this day. And that is, do you feel hungry? No? Then you're fine. Do you feel hungry? Yes. Oh, then you might be in a calorie deficit. And there you go. That's it. That's all you really need to do. I like counting calories because I'm an asshole and I can eat a lot. Generally speaking, if you gave me a Chipotle burrito, chips and dip, plus a dessert and a soda on the side, I could crush it easily. Some people can't do that. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it is a lot of food if you think about it calorically wise. But regardless, that is something I can crush, and then 3 hours later I can crush something else immediately. It's just, I can crush a lot of food instantly. But the point that I'm trying to make is that people forget that no matter what you have as tools for yourself, right? Starvation, aka my stomach growling a little bit, is probably one of the best, if not the best, indicators as to whether or not you're in a calorie deficit. So that is something that I've learned over time, dieting and stuff. When we get into the voiceover, I will talk more about other things that I would do that would make it so as to why I was not losing weight / ballooned up so much. Some of the things will be obvious, but other things will be like, oh, okay, yeah. But with that being said, I will see you on the inside.
Alright, start this day off with hack squats. Didn't do 4 sets because my knees were tired after this. I think it's something that I'm gonna have to start dealing with a little bit, is that I'm getting more and more joint pain as I'm going down in weight, which is interesting. I guess I'm gonna have to go a little bit lower, a little bit slower, a little bit less sets. Gonna have to do a little bit more warm-ups most likely, but we'll talk about that in a different video because right now I am currently dealing with that, but that's a whole other story. But anyways, back onto the main subject matter at hand. Just wanted to talk mostly about me being a former fat boy and all the things that come along with it. I think the big thing for me was basically the food addiction that I was incurring the entire time. I was really just super addicted to all the foods that I could eat. That was what food generally does to you, specifically heavily processed food and or artificial foods or whatever the hell they want to call it nowadays. But fast food, all that stuff was very much designed in order to keep you wanting more and more. My thing back in the day was Chinese food. I was a huge Chinese food person, still miss it to this day. Can't eat it anymore. It's one of those foods that if I eat it nowadays, not only will I feel like crap, I'll be hungry in a few hours, plus I know that it'll also make me be in the bathroom for a little too long. So I know that those are the issues with it, so that's why I don't eat it anymore. I already know that it's just so bad for me, but I do miss it because it is one of the foods that I used to eat all the time. I was a big fiend for fast food, any fast food joint that had deals. So like Domino's was a place that would have deals. McDonald's had deals. They occasionally still do if you have the app or whatever, but stuff like that. You know, that we had so many options around this area that there's always something new or a new flavor to try each day. And then I would have the backwards assumption of eating twice a day outside with like full-on meals that were like extravagant, each of them, and then I would do absolutely nothing right after eating these huge ass meals. So like I would eat like, let's say like 2 whole platters from like Panda Express, and then I would go like sleep or something. Absolutely zero exercise whatsoever. I wasn't a huge fan of that personally, but I would do it anyway, even though I knew like my stomach was like, what are you doing? There's a lot of stuff like that where I was not very knowledgeable about like just physical exercise, how my body functioned, you know. Even walking after eating was like a good idea, you know, like just like things like that, small things that, you know, help the food digest down a little bit was such a foreign concept to me. I knew the idea of calories back in the day. Obviously earlier was a joke, but it's more of a like, who's gonna count that? You know, that entire idea. But that was the big change. I actually started counting calories and it made a huge difference in how I see food and what the differences are. And I feel like a lot of people could end up doing that. It's not the end all be all. I still feel like just listening to your gut and making sure you're slightly hungry is fine. Like, I feel like that's what most people should and could and should do, honestly. Because then the more you listen to your body, the better that you can become and become more connected to it. and just making sure that the hunger is real. I think another part of it was that hunger would come up because of boredom, which is a very interesting thing. I think that's a very interesting phenomena that happens. I've noticed that mostly happens a lot whenever I get snowed in, or for some reason the weather makes me stay inside for some reason or another, is that I would eat extra. I would eat more than I normally would, and I remember that a lot. Staying indoors or not doing any type of physical activity would cause me to be bored or something, and then boredom would lead to more eating and stuff. And that's how it is. I've tried, I would say, some diets back in the day. I tried to go down some of those rabbit holes, but none of them really necessarily worked. I don't feel like the fitness industry nowadays does a good job on those, because the thing about diets are that technically they all kind of work. It's just depending on which one you can find that works for you is the main thing. That's the thing that people forget about. They all technically work. It just depends on which one you can adhere to, and then, you know, make the changes that are necessary for it. I found that I could get close to keto, but then just getting that first, I do love me my carbs, so it's just getting into that first ketosis state is tough, so I could never really do it. But there are other things like that. So for me, counting calories is my thing. I like doing it. I don't mind doing it. And I don't mind keeping to do it, because it is something where it keeps me in check. And that's the other thing, is that I was never really kept in check back in the day. There was nothing really holding my ass to a fire, being like, dude, if you don't stop and reassess and do all this stuff, you're just gonna stay fat. Until I believe it was just one day I was just tired of being fat with my brother. We went to the gym, and that was, the rest is history, really. I've talked about that story before, but really that really was the emphasis. I looked at myself in the mirror, I saw the number on the scale. I was like, I cannot let myself keep going down this rabbit hole. 300 pounds at 5'8" is a huge dude, you know. I was wearing 2XL shirts and they were tight, you know. That was a lot. So it was the entire first step of going to the gym, and then starting that up, and then going down like the figuring out all the foods that was good for me and bad for me, and starting eliminating things. Obviously there are still like foods that are here and there that I'll still eat to this day that are not necessarily great, but it is so few and far between now that I'm like, I know how to live through it basically, and not let it ruin me and then take me down the rabbit hole of addiction, food addiction again, because I know that that is a really, really strong one. The only thing I still struggle with are sweets. Sweets will always have a hold on me, which is annoying, but that one is just a lifelong thing. The sweet tooth will forever be there, no matter what. I just have to go around it or avoid it as much as I can.
Yeah, let me get a quarter pounder with cheese, plain, large meal with a high C, 20-piece nuggets with 6 sweet and sour sauces, and 3 chocolate chip cookies. Yeah, let's add a McFlurry to that too. M&Ms, please. Thank you very much. And we're back. Welcome to the workout debriefing. Exercises not filmed, none. Exercises skipped, also none. Got everything in, thankfully. I am very happy about that. I am super tired though, and I am very excited to get home and sleep. And or just relax. I think I could relax today. I don't even have to edit today. I could edit tomorrow, which is nice. Thank God. But anyways, back to the main subject matter at hand. Being a former fat fuck, or AKA being a former fat guy. I understand it. I get it. I've been there. I've done it. I've been there and been there hard. I still to this day deal with a sweet tooth that I normally don't like to have to deal with, but I still have to deal with it because for some reason desserts get me. The desserts get me and I get desserts. I'm the type of person that could probably kill a cheesecake in its entirety by myself without even questioning it. So that is who I am personally. For some reason I can't do a tub of ice cream though. A tub of ice cream, I think that would be too much, but it might just be the dairy content, but I don't know yet. I don't know, maybe I'll try that someday. But anyways, like I was saying, the main thing that I would like to take away from this video is that no matter what, no matter how dire the circumstances are, you can definitely get out of being a fatty and or have your tendencies that make you fat or gain weight curbed out of your diet. It's not too hard. It does take a little bit of practice, but I have been there and I have done that, if that makes any sense. I've been there eating full-on Cheesecake Factory meals ad nauseum. You know what I mean? 3,000 to 4,000 calories a day in one meal. You know what I mean? So I've been there. I understand it, and it's tough. It's a tough road getting out of that. The food is delicious, but if there is something that I've learned and that I would hope that you take away from this, is that when you eat, make sure the food that you're eating doesn't go right through you. If every time you eat, let's say Wingstop, you all of a sudden get the runs afterwards, you should probably stop eating Wingstop. And this applies to most, if not all, food. You should really watch out what you're doing with the food, so then afterwards, hey, I don't feel like complete garbage, or hey, I don't need to go take an immediate shit right after eating, which isn't normal per se, especially if it's a like ferocious one, you know what I mean? Be aware of small things like that, because that's just your body telling you, hey, I probably shouldn't have this food. This does not go well with me. And it's stuff like that where people for some reason forget to listen to their body, and that's what causes a lot of issues down the line. But I wanted to say that because I've been there. I've been the guy that will get that order from McDonald's that you heard earlier. I will unironically get that sometimes. You know what I mean? That's what I would have gotten, honestly. I would have added the McFlurry at the end there. Probably would have added a McChicken too, because I wanted more bread or something, some ridiculous ass like thought process, but I wouldn't have gotten it with mayo because for some reason mayo was not cool for me. I don't know. It beats me, but anyways, I get it. And I would like to say that no matter where you are on the spectrum of being a fatty or not, you can get out of it, and I believe in you getting out of it. It does not take much effort and time to do it. It does take a little bit of time, but it doesn't take that much effort. You'd be surprised at how many things you can replace and or take away in your diet, and you'd be okay. In fact, you'd probably feel better, honestly. That's another thing that people don't describe whenever you're the fat versus skinny. You just generally feel better with less fat on you. I feel 100% better than I did when I was 100 pounds ago. You know what I mean? 90 pounds ago, I should say. I feel way better. I feel way better than I did 60 pounds ago. I feel way better than I did 30 pounds ago. All right? Any amount is way better. Even if it's 10, 20, 30, it doesn't matter. It always, you just kind of feel better. Sure, people will be like, but the food, blah, blah. The food is the instant gratification aspect of it. The long-term gratification of, oh hey, I can move around and not feel like complete ass, is astonishing and wonderful, and I feel like most people should do that, but not everybody is cut out for it, unfortunately, but that is what it is. But with that being said, tell me what you think in the comments below. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions about anything I talked about, or any stories you have, any fat war stories, you know, something where you might have looked down and you're like, wow, I am really, really fat right now. Like, you know what I mean? You have those thoughts. Everybody, I feel like everybody has at least one of those thoughts where they're like, I just downed a whole pizza by myself. It's just something that innately happens. But I'm curious to know if you've had any of those thoughts and or had any of those stories. I would love to know. But anyways, thank you very much for watching. I will be back on tomorrow with something new. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video with somebody who might like it or who has some more stories about being fat. But anyways, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. I will see you on the next one. Peace.